Hello, welcome to our American History 1 course here at Waldorf University in the online format. This is American History to 1877. I'm Dr. Mason. I will be your instructor as we explore the early history of the Republic over the next 8 weeks. A little bit about me, quick. I am the chair of the Department of History, Geography, and Political Science here at Waldorf and teach primarily on the residential campus, although I do teach quite a bit online and work a lot in course design and some of those kind of things as well. I am a rural and environmental historian of the American Midwest, focused primarily in the 1800s, but I do a little bit of stuff throughout the history of the United States broadly. And then I teach a lot of different campus courses in both formats, online and residentially. I'm a community college person. I went to North Area Community College at a high school, and then I went and got my Bachelor of Science in Social and Behavioral Science at the University of Mary in Bismarck, North Dakota, before attending Wayland Baptist University in Plainview, Texas, where I got my first master's degree in history. Then I got a second master's degree here at Waldorf University in the online format because I wanted to understand how that worked a little bit better, and that's in organizational leadership, focused in human resource development. And so sometimes I'll see some of you over in maybe some of the organizational leadership courses where I teach a couple of those as well in the online format. Then I got my PhD at Iowa State University in Ames and Rural Environmental History, focused broadly across the world, but I do primarily study and write about the American Midwest and Iowa specifically, and environmental change within that space. Enough about me. We'll get to know each other as the course is going, but I'm excited to have you here. And when I think about the online courses, there's a few different things you got to be aware of. First, all the discussion boards, you're going to have your first post due by Saturday at 11:59 p.m. Central Standard Time, with a response to a classmate by Tuesday, also at 11:59 p.m. Central Standard Time. My expectation on the discussion board is that you're going to bring your unique perspective into the discussion board and support with evidence. Those are two, I think, pretty easy things to do. If you've taken online classes before, you know what bad discussion posts look like, whether you've created them yourselves or you've read them from other people, where it's like, I really like what you did there. You did something cool there. Good job with what you did there. Don't do that. You're not going to get the credit. Your first post is worth 50% of the grade. Your second post is worth another 50%. And we'll test this out this week with our discussion board questions. So if you go down, click on Unit 1, you can then access the discussion board, and you'll find kind of that first question. What it says is, consider this our classroom roundtable where we get to brainstorm and consider what we're researching and learning about this week, really dig into a discussion. And one of the beautiful things about online education and education broadly is we all have different experiences. We have different parts of our personality that shape our perspective, and you can bring those into the discussion board. I do want you to underlie those with evidence. Historical research is a huge part of what we're trying to do in this class, but our discussion board is intended to be a relaxed environment that still allows us to engage in critical thinking, and with that, I think evidence is a piece. So everyone is required to create 2 posts, a response post and a comment post, and those need to be on time. Due to university policy, you can't post late on the discussion board to receive any credit. So when we get to Tuesday at 11:59 p.m. Central Standard Time, you need both posts to be there. If you only have one of the posts, you immediately get a maximum of 50 out of 100 on it, because one post worth 50%, the other worth 50%. That makes sense. And because it's a participatory assignment, if you're just posting on the discussion board after the discussion's over and everybody else has moved on, you're largely talking to yourself. You can't get any credit for that. So discussion boards can't be late. I think that's an important thing to remember. The response post is your response to the root question provided, and your comment post is responding to the posts that have been put up by the other people in the course. There's a specific due date, so make sure you're paying attention to that. I've talked about that a little bit. Additionally, there are content expectations, so make sure you look at that discussion board rubric. You can find that under syllabus and schedule in the Blackboard shell. Again, make sure you've read the Unit 1 study guide as you go into it. I think oftentimes it's good to get that question, which I'm going to give you here in a second, and then do the reading, then come back to it. So there's 2 parts to our first discussion board. First, introduce yourself to your classmates as you're comfortable doing so. We don't need your entire life story, but I think it's good for us to get to know each other a little bit. Often students like to include things like where they live, what they do, what they're majoring in, and what they plan to do in the future. I think that can help you find other people that are trying to do the same thing you're doing, maybe build some of those relationships that are important at college in any format. However, the choice is largely up to you. I do expect that you're going to participate and introduce yourself in some way, but as far as what that looks like, largely up to you. We want to get to know you a little bit as we're going to be working together over the next couple of months, and that's, I think, a positive thing. Then our second part is going to move beyond that and give you a chance to start experimenting with how you're building some of that content. So one of the required unit resources was Peter Stern's article, Why Study History? I think that's an important thing to consider. I think you should always know why you're trying to do something, and as none of you are majoring in history in the online format, probably important to be thinking about, why is the university asking you to do this? Stern's presented various reasons for the study of history and why it's important for both individual people and society. After reading this, reflect on his viewpoints and answer the 4 questions that are there. So, number 1, which of Stern's reasons to study history do you most agree with? He's going to give you a few different options. I want you to see, based on your own experience, your own perspective, what makes the most sense to you as to why people should study history. Then I want you to connect it to you personally, connect it to society more broadly. A lot of the things that we learn in history, whether that's historical research skills, how to analyze and communicate things clearly, better understanding of our past in general, all kind of make you a better person and a better citizen for sure. How can you apply this to how can you apply this reason to study history to you professionally? I think that's an important thing to see in a general education class like this. I promise you, no matter what you do for a living, being able to research things effectively, draw meaningful conclusions, analyze that, and then communicate it to other people, those are skills that play ball in any field that you may be in. And I want you to be thinking about those things as we go into the course, because I think it makes it a little bit easier to understand what we're trying to do. All right, so that's the discussion board. It's the first thing you got to do. We got one other major assignment for you to work on this week, and that's going to be our Unit 1 kind of assignment. And so in Unit 1, you're looking at some of the unique and amazing cultures of Paleo-America, aka Ancient America. And as we learned, researchers including archaeologists, historians, geologists, and others are continuing to discover new and exciting information about the Paleo-American cultures. This is one of the things I work with a lot of different colleagues. One of the things that I do a lot is work with our state archaeologist office here in Iowa. Every summer for the past few years, I've spent some time out at Spirit Lake, which is, they call it the Iowa Great Lakes, and it's a sign of incredible violence in 1857 when the Wapakute Dakota destroyed the American settlement at Spirit Lake. It killed 36 people, took a bunch captive as a response to some of the things that were happening around them during that time period. One of the challenges archaeologists have been focusing on is trying to figure out how the Dakota lived at Spirit Lake prior to the arrival of Americans, and our state archaeologist is working on that. And so I usually go out to provide some different support, work with some of the students, do some of those kind of things. And archaeologists and historians work together a lot of the time, especially when it comes to indigenous cultures. After reading the Unit 1 lesson, Section 1.1, looking at the Americas from the online textbook and viewing the required videos encapsulated in that, select one tribal culture or an event or a theory discussed that relates to Native America. Once you've selected a topic, go to the Waldorf Online Library and locate a peer-reviewed full-text article focused on your topic. Select an article that you're confident you'll be able to use to write analysis and provide reflection. And your assignment should contain 2 parts. First, I want you to provide article content analysis. I want you to read through that, and one of the things I'm focused on here is not just a summary, but your analysis and how you build. A lot of times we get taught at the K through 12 level in the United States to summarize content we're reading. Go through it and put it in your own words is how my own teachers always taught about that. I want you to create analysis that moves a step beyond that. You're not just reading it, learning what it says, and then putting it into your own words. I want you to put it into your own perspective as well. Provide that analysis piece that elevates that analysis a little bit. So that needs to be 300 words, discussing the content of the article you selected, identify the thesis, provide a summary of the thesis, main points, and then provide insightful and thorough analysis of the article using cited evidence from the article. You don't have to just give your personal opinion. That's a common hurdle here. Be focused on what does the article say, and then providing that interpretation, which I look at as a next level skill. Use in-text citations, APA, all that stuff. The second part is going to be your reflection, which will really build out your analysis more, right? Kind of 200 word in length, in-depth reflection of the article, considering the validity of the thesis, strategies used to collect data, article findings. Look at your personal viewpoints even more in this section, put those things together, and then look at the rest of the steps there. There are some good piece of advice if you're still looking on where to go. That's a good first line of defense, where it says getting started, talks you through working on the library, thinking about the content. All of those tips are there to help you as you go through. It also lists some other resources that can help you. Things like APA can help you with tips on essay writing, all that kind of stuff that if this is like particularly your first class there, I think this can really be useful to you as you work your way through this first assignment. Should give you some good basis for research, analysis, some of those other kinds of things. So as you do that, those are the two things you got to get done this week. Otherwise, be reaching out with questions you have. The best way to get me is email. My email is kevin.mason@waldorf.edu. I try to be pretty good about checking my email consistently throughout the week. And getting back to you as quickly as you can. And it could be frustrating if you send an email and then it's like days and days and you're like, I really want to get my work done. So I try to be on top of that and get back to you as soon as I can with a good response. You can find my other information. You could set up a time to call. But again, if you're going to call my office phone, I'm not always in my office. So sending an email first to arrange a time is often the best way to do that. Otherwise, I expect you to put your best foot forward in this class. Don't cheat. You have a great opportunity to grow and learn in those research and historical thinking and other skills throughout this course. Make sure you're getting your money's worth, and a big part of that is putting in the work. Otherwise, again, make sure you're reaching out if you got questions. I appreciate the hard work that you're going to put in this week. Good luck.